Coming up, the one and only Shaun Yuen is joining us live in the studio as we get the inside scoop on the recent Series A in Salzburg. How well did our Aussies perform and what were some of the key takeaways from the event? Shaun and I also reminisce on our Junior Worlds experience as we count down to Venice in a few weeks. All of that follows after our talented friend, Good Fortune. Welcome back to the Kaizen Culture Pod, where we are keeping the conversation moving within Australian karate. My name is Mitchell Durham, joined as always by Nathan Blockley, and now we've got a special guest on here, Shaun Yuen. Thanks for joining us in, Shaun. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and we're also watchable on YouTube. Please give the podcast a rating if you're enjoying the content, and if you are watching on YouTube, you'll notice something very different about this one today.
Something that I'm loving.
Oh,
it feels so good to be in a new space, a new setup. Same room, but we've switched up all the sort of furniture.
New chairs.
Yeah, got some armchairs. Mm-hmm. Me and John are no longer sharing. So no, it's good to have my own space, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a bit weird for me to get used to, and being on this side of the couch as well.
Yes.
Obviously on this side because we're here with Shaun.
Mm-hmm.
How you going, Shaun?
Boys, how are you? Good?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for jumping on today. You're at Series A in Salzburg. You had some great performances, and you sort of suggested, hey, I'd love to jump on the pod and go through it and have a little bit of a presence. So,
and for the viewers, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from the Netherlands, so all the way up in Europe. Been here for about a year, so yeah, good to jump on and finally have a chat to you guys.
That is amazing. I love Aussies who have gone overseas and lived in Europe for a little bit. Do you feel like you've learned so much about yourself and what you want from life and work? And you're working over there, aren't you?
Yeah, so I moved to work, and then part of it was also the karate aspect, being able to travel and pop over to tournaments here and there and train. But yeah, I think more than that, I've kind of learned a lot about myself, had a lot of growing up to do. So it's been good. It's been good.
Have you grown up?
Oh, I don't know. only you guys can be the judge of that when I see you every couple months.
Yeah.
But,
I think the jury's still out on that one. But it's wicked. So obviously work is your main focus, right? But do you still have time to obviously, you're still training and competing and stuff like that? What's the balance like?
I don't know if work is still my main focus.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, I've had the opportunity to travel a lot, so I mean that's always a plus side of moving to Europe. But yeah, training's been good. I train with the Dutch team every couple of weeks, so they have training sessions twice a week. Twice a month. So I've been very lucky to train with them, and it's also good just being able to meet other kata athletes, because I guess kata is quite an individual sport. So when you train with them, you also compete with them, but at the same time, it's good to just have other people that do the same thing around you.
Yeah, wicked. That sounds like you're getting some really valuable experience out there with just different athletes and the coaches as well. I'm sure that they've welcomed you with open arms.
Yeah, been very lucky. I guess if you normally go to another country, I guess people can kind of just be a bit look at you and just say, "Oh, he's incredible from another country." But no, they've been really good. They've really been welcoming, and I've really enjoyed it. And also the referees, there are a lot of good referees up here. So get some good insights from them as well. I guess from the European perspective. So yeah, it's been good.
That's huge for kata athletes, referees' perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think one thing you mentioned, Shaun, being able to train, or as a national team, train together pretty much fortnightly. Imagine that in Australia.
Oh my God.
How often do you guys train together?
Once a year, twice a year.
Yeah, twice a year. That is crazy, hey?
Yeah, because I guess the Netherlands is so small. I mean, national training is 45 minutes from where I am, and I'm in another city. So
yeah, that was the same as us. We're in Apeldoorn, which is Was it about an hour and a
I
half?
think the national team training was in Rotterdam.
Yeah, but we were in Apeldoorn, which is
Yeah.
about an hour and a half outside of Rotterdam. But it was like a country town. It was supposedly ages away, but for us, it's like, well, from Perth to Mandurah, if those Eastern staters know what that means. But bugger, or from one side of Melbourne to the other side of Melbourne.
Yeah, and people do that for state training. So
Yeah.
no, that's so good. And when you're you're obviously focusing on work, and you've spoken about the training side of things, but competitions is probably the main focus that we are interested in. And like, how have you been able to get to the international opens and compete locally? And obviously you've just done the Series A. So, and I've seen you do another tournament a couple of weeks ago. I think it was that.
Not a couple of weeks ago. It was probably before the summer. So,
Oh, was it?
the European competition season, right? So you
That's true. Yeah.
whatever it is from September. So now it's the start of the season, and then up until end of July, August. So August, like literally no one, like everything's closed. Doges are closed. Like even people are all on holidays. So, it's been easy. Like it's been definitely easy to get around for comps and stuff. You don't have to like plan months and months in advance. Try and look for cheap flights. See try and make the most of the trip. Where am I doing like 2 or 3 tournaments? So it's been like a little bit easier from that front. But yeah, did the Series A, did one earlier this year, back in Feb, and there wasn't that many Series A's this year, so this was like, I guess, the start of this season going forward.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
And how was the that's what we're here to chat about, really, is the Series A in Salzburg. Like, it was a big contentious rule change, you could say. Sort of ruffled a few feathers. What was it like competing with the top 32 there? What was just the energy like in the stadium? Did it feel like a Premier League? You've done both Series A's and Premier Leagues. Did it feel like a Premier League, or was it?
No, so the Series A, so this one, it was big. Like it was a full squad of 128 people. So it felt really big, and the venue wasn't massive either. So when you compete at a Premier League, usually it's a lot less competitors, and usually the stands like aren't as full. But this one was super packed. So this one felt like a really big tournament. I think they had 1, 2, 3, I think it's 6 mats or 8 mats. So everything was going on at the same time. But then having the top 32, there was an interesting one, right? Because I guess from a competitor's point of view, you want to get more mat time. I can understand you want to get more mat time. You want to get more rounds, and you want to be seen by the referees. But at the same time, I guess you kind of taking a spot for someone who could potentially be, or someone outside would give them a chance. And I guess you guys spoke a little bit about it last week, but it didn't really make a huge amount of sense. But yeah, I mean, it's still good to have that level of competition there, but whether it's considered, fair, I don't know. It's another, I think, a topic for another podcast.
I've got a couple of stats on Salzburg in terms of the Premier League, or inside the top 32 competing at the Series A, and there were only 2 divisions where an outside of the top 32 won the event. So that's 10 out of 12 events. That wasn't including Team Carter. I didn't have a look at Team Carter.
Right.
But 10 out of the main 12 events were won by a top 32 athlete. So that's, taking the spot of somebody who would have probably won otherwise and got those points as well. That's a huge thing with points. So we'll talk about that later in the listeners' comments. I know we've got that. But yeah, it's a very just odd rule. Like, why would you introduce this? I didn't see a huge benefit for anyone except the top 32.
Yeah, I just want to know what the motives behind it. Is it to benefit the top 32 athletes, or is it to something else? I don't know, make it a bigger event? Because obviously, clearly, it was a bigger event, as what Shaun says. Yeah,
do you think the size would have changed sort of if it was just... Because your first Series A, where was that again? That was in... Turkey,
my first Karate 1 event, like a Premier League / Series A. This was back in
just this year.
This year, yeah.
Oh, this year. Sorry, it was in Feb.
Yeah.
So that was Larnaca.
That was still a full 128 in your division.
I think it was still 128. So you definitely don't struggle to fill in numbers.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. By if you have the top 32 in there, you kind of take a spot for someone outside from 33. Till open.
Yeah. So right? Size-wise, you're not really impacting the tournament. The tournament's the same size whether you have the top 32 or not. But maybe it pulled in more spectators. Nah, probably not.
Could you tell much with the spectators? You can't really tell.
It was full. It was busy, but you can't really tell between
competitors, coaches,
But like it was mostly
officials.
just athletes that were there. I guess the only impact would be from a competition point of view, because if you hit one of the top 32 in the first round, like you know, there's a very good chance that they go through.
Yeah, yeah, and there were a few top 32 who didn't make it to the finals, in which case everybody
Correct,
that they knocked out prior, got knocked out by a top 32 and didn't even get a chance for repechage. So
That's such a shame.
And if
Hey?
you're doing an event like Qatar, where you have that experience and you have that, I guess, the reputation of being a top 32 athlete, it's even more difficult, I think.
We'll move on to talk about our Aussies. Like we've had
Yes.
some great representation at that Salzburg event.
yeah, despite the high level of competition.
Yeah, like which is kind of really cool to see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like knowing that this is the top 32 included event. People like Max and Iris and yourself going deep into some rounds. Just I want to hear your take on it. Like we see the results and all that sort of stuff, but we want to hear what it was like to watch it.
Yeah, so Max and Iris killed. Like they did really, really well. They fought really
we'll
well.
talk about them later. How about you? How'd you go? You were telling us before about how there was a bit of a uncertainty with when the event was going to start. Like that's a bit of a curveball for an athlete.
Yeah,
no?
so it was pretty crazy. So they changed the scheduling. So usually you have, and same with Premier League, you have Friday, Saturday competition, prelims, Sunday finals day.
Yep.
This time they decided, okay, we're going to do the full event on the one day, which I can understand, because if everyone just wants to compete on the same day and then go home, like that's perfectly
Yeah, it's sort
fine.
of good for athletes.
But they didn't. But the thing is, they didn't say which event. They didn't even give us the order of events.
Wait,
So
what?
they just said, okay, Friday, female kata, male kata, and then 2 of the heavyweight kumite divisions. We didn't know until
that wasn't even an order, like a solid order.
like you kind of know from experience. Okay, kata goes first, but all the
Male or
other
female?
athletes, we were like, okay, is it female or is it male?
Yeah.
Because usually the
Team?
girls will go first on the Friday, boys will go Saturday. So,
Yeah.
and we didn't know whether we're going to do like all the female first and then all the male, or whether it was kind of like in between.
Oh man, that's very odd.
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is this?
Yeah, it was wild. Like they had they also had this warm up area, which was a tent. So it was outside the venue. It was a tent.
I hate it when they do that.
And we were thinking, how do you, if you have 128 people from female and male, if they're competing like in between, like that's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Far out.
256
So anyway,
people
all these
on
things are
mats.
going through my head. It was a bit crazy, and then it didn't come out till I think like 8 o'clock the night before, which is when the draw and the schedule came out.
Jeez.
That's pretty high stress situations.
Yeah.
But obviously you dealt with it pretty well, considering you had some good rounds in you. How was it in the first few?
Yeah, I did okay. I guess the first 2, man, they were all juniors, so it kind of made me feel kind of old. Well, I'm all on 20 anyway.
That's where the talent is now, Sean. You guys are vets now.
Unfortunately,
See, I'm retired.
we're washing up.
No, no,
Won't believe it.
no, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, you had one of your rivals retire the other day, Isaac Koshi.
Yeah, I saw he hung the belt up.
Yeah,
But he's retired like twice before, so I don't know. We'll see.
He'll come back, I reckon.
Yeah.
He'll probably come back for veterans.
Which is
so.
soon.
I
No,
know
I'm joking. No, it doesn't matter whether you're competing up against a junior or not, because you see with the Italian boy that's just come through. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Carter.
Yeah, Qatar athlete. He got silver or something at the Premier League. He's really young. Anyway, it doesn't matter the age, because just the talent overseas is so good.
Yep.
And with Qatar, you just got to face up against a good Qatar.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I went up against the guy I lost to was junior world number 1. So he's from Portugal.
Yeah.
I genuinely think he's a chance at world champion this year. So he's very good.
Wow.
So my first 2 rounds, I guess I did as best I could. And then third round, I actually felt probably the most confident in the third round, just because you get the nerves out of the way and you kind of finally settle into your mode, to your game mode. And then, didn't happen, didn't win. So,
but you put your best Carter out there, which is all you can do.
Yeah, I did. I knew he was a very strong competitor. So I guess I had to do my best. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But
I was watching you on the live stream, and like live stream isn't the best quality, but you look sharp as,
Thanks, man.
Just
Hell
throw
yeah.
that compliment in there.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
No, and everyone's proud of you, man. Like, and even though you're coming from Netherlands, you're still Australian, and you wear that badge with pride. So it's good to see.
Yeah, when are you coming back? Do you have an idea about that?
That's a unknown answer at the moment.
It's confidential.
I was hoping for a Kaizen Culture exclusive. You know?
Oh, we should be
Inside
the
scoop.
yeah, we should
Inside
be
scoop,
the
yeah.
exclusive like breaking news section of the karate world.
I
Anyway,
like it. Get rid of the listener comments. Put in breaking news.
breaking news. Shaun never coming back to Australia. Max and Iris, give us your insight. I'll just quickly go through the standard results that they had.
Yeah, go for
So
it.
Max made it to the pool final, 10-2 against Scotland, 8-0 against Algeria,
Jesus.
4-3 against Germany, and then 1-1 against Georgia. Obviously a century loss. And then Georgia made it to the bronze medal bout, but I don't think he got the bronze. But still, an amazing performance.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it shows because they did 2 events before. So I think they were in Italy and the UK.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean you look at the first 2 round results, like they smashed the first 2 competitors. So
And
I
that's
think the
huge with
international
just
experience
scoring
shows.
as well. Like a win's a win, but a 0-1 win, it's different to like a 10-2,
Yeah.
8-0, even 4-3. Like that's a lot of points to be scoring on the international stage, which is huge.
And the ones that they lost, like the 2 rounds that they lost, they only lost was very close. So it wasn't like a big difference. But yeah, I mean, it just I think that it shows the fact that if you have international experience and you do that in the lead up, it adds value. I think as well, Barney took the gold medalist up until like 7.
Yeah.
Really?
In
Yeah.
the
And
quarters.
he got
Yeah.
what was it? They were in really close together, and you would have thought the referee was going to call Wakarate, and he didn't. But Barney's looking at the referee, thinking like, "Are you going to call this? Like we're standing next to each other, and we have been for the last like 3 seconds."
Yeah.
Completely shuts down the other guy. Hook kick, 3 points to start off the match. Yeah. So just a lapse
That
in
was a really good
judgment.
fight.
Yeah, not playing to the whistle, and yeah, he only just lost as well. So
that's probably the difference maker.
yeah,
That is such a shame.
I think Barney definitely, and I'm sure Max and Iris as well. They were looking at those finals and saying, "I could have been there easily." Like with the
he's
change of a
100%.
couple of seconds, it could have been me there.
Well, I mean, Iris, I was watching some of Iris's highlights, and oh my goodness, she was looking so good, especially coming off of a knee injury and not fighting for a little bit. You know, obviously, like you said, the international comps that she's just done beforehand with Max has paid her off well. So she won 6-1 against Slovenia, 6-2 Azerbaijan, 4-2 against Poland, and then lost to the Ukrainian Youth League gold medalist, which is no slouch. You know what I mean? So. Did she make it to the? She didn't make it. She obviously didn't make it to the repechage because.
Correct. Yeah.
But the way she was attacking with confidence and just like that burst, it was looking so good. And I'm sure you would have seen it.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how she goes at Junior Wells. And remember, this is her first Series A, so this is her first big event.
Wow.
And she's gone through a considerable amount of rounds. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how she goes.
Yeah, I was watching her, and it was like she didn't care who she was coming up against. It was this because I was watching it, and you sort of size up the opposition. You're like, oh, is this a good fighter that they're fighting? And the first was like, oh yeah, like she's solid. But then one of the later rounds, maybe the second or the third, it was like, oh, this looks like a tough fighter. No difference to Iris. She just comes out and does the exact same thing as she did in the previous rounds, and she was. I think like 90% at least of her scores were Yukos, like single scores. And do you want to read out the scores, Mitch?
I just did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did I miss them completely?
Yeah. 6-1, 6-2, 4-2. And then
Wow.
the loss, I can't remember what she lost to.
Yeah, wow. So that's 16 points. Crazy.
Yeah. And it's tough as well. Like Celia was over there as well. And she lost, unfortunately, to the number 2 in under 21. So that was a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But, you know, you sometimes you just draw a really, really tough competitive first round. And, yeah, what did you reckon, Shaun?
Nathan said youth is where the depth is now. So
So true.
you see them coming through. But you see these Europeans that are really good at the under 21 junior level. They transition up until the seniors so easily. I mean, you see it in the results. Like it's just seamless for them. They're just so used to competing with at that level. At when they come into the seniors, it's like no big deal. Celia, I think she had I think it was her first time traveling alone, so she had a bit of a tough one with the life admin side of traveling.
Which cannot be underestimated.
I think her something happened with her Airbnb, so she had to like change, and then she's trying to get her money back and all this type of stuff. So it was a very stressful week for her. So I don't think she was probably in the right headspace to be totally honest, and she'd probably agree.
That's something that people don't consider when traveling for the first time. You know, like
everything's going to go perfectly. Nothing's going to go wrong. It
nothing's going to go wrong.
And then next minute,
then you lose all your bags.
I wouldn't know how that feels.
No, we don't know. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the difference between Premier League and Series A level in terms of like just throughout the year and how the top 32 has affected that. But I think we don't really get the insight of the cutter side of things. What's your sort of take on what the major differences between the Series A cutter level at like disregarding this rule of including the top 32?
Mm.
How big of a difference is the shift from the two levels?
It's big.
Yeah,
like
huge.
It's difficult. Like to get, I mean, at least in the Premier League, you're kind of guaranteed 3 rounds.
Yep.
With the pool system, but to actually make it through to be the top one in your pool to get to the quarters, it's extremely difficult. I mean, the level of competitors that you face, the top 32, they're almost professional because they're doing all the big events. And they're just consistently, the level is just so high. Whereas a Series A is a little bit different in the sense that, okay, you have the big draw system now, the one-on-one. So you could get anyone in the first round. You could get someone who's in the top 32, or you could get someone who's doing it for the first time, which I also had. So the experience is varied. And then the level for kata is quite different. But I think you really need to have the Series A experience before you get to the Premier League, because Premier League is like it's again probably more difficult than even the World Championships, because you have almost anyone as long as you're good enough to be at that Premier League.
Yeah, geez. And then Premier League, that you've got at least one of the top 8 in that division who's signed up in your pool, so you need to beat one of probably the top 10, which is a huge ask.
And you can't let up. Like, you have to be perfect every round, otherwise just not going to get a win, and then you leave it up to results or points, and then even then you don't want to leave it to that to get through. I mean, I guess it's the same for Kumite. You kind of have to win every round, or at least play the points. But I guess in Kumite you're a bit more flexible over the results that you get and how the results pan out, because you're actually fighting someone.
Yeah, it's a tricky, and you obviously think that the rule needs to stay the same, like don't include the top 32, because as you're obviously saying that you need that distinct split, right? And you're a firm believer of that.
I think so. Yeah, put me in that camp.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about the Series A?
I did have a question for Shaun. It's not about the Series A, but it is a question. If you were to, and this is a great insight from a kata athlete, something that we haven't really covered on the pod so far. If you were to say restart your career, so say you're 17, you're competing at nationals, you're medaling, how would you direct yourself down a pathway to get to the World Championships and be competitive on the world stage like Premier League? Like, what are the steps that you would take yourself through?
If I were to do it now, because
in today's climate, not back when you were.
Yeah. Well, I guess now you have the youth leagues. So the youth leagues are really, and they're really good, and they're really big. So you get so much exposure. Like, I don't want to say this, but back in my day, you kind of just did the Premier Leagues when you could get in, and this is when it was open.
Yeah.
You'd do a few opens, like we done the US Open or Commonwealth Championships, and then you kind of bang, all of a sudden, Junior World Championships. So if I did it again, I think I would still do a few opens. Similar to what Iris is doing, I guess. She kind of tags along with Max to go to all these European Opens, and then kind of build up your experience from there. as well as hitting up the youth leagues when you can rope it in a trip, because as I just said, the transition from juniors to seniors to the world championship level becomes a lot easier that way. So that's what I would do.
You'd definitely be looking to the youth leagues. And then when would you say you're ready for a Series A tournament? Because obviously, like if you go to a Series A and you're not ready for that tournament, it can actually be detrimental to your development. You know, you might get beaten down by somebody who's maybe at the lower scale of the division. So you need to make sure you're ready for that comp. What would make you feel ready for a Series A?
It's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. I haven't really thought about it, but I suppose so. Obviously, if you're winning,
sorry
Aussie
to
Open,
interrupt.
right?
Does
like
a break
Aussie Open
allow you to think about that? Because we actually need to take a break now because the time's about to
Okay.
cut off. But have a think about that.
Yeah, let me get back to you. Let me get back to you on
we'll
that.
come back and answer that question after the break. Okay, we are back from the break, and one thing we forgot to mention is if you're watching on YouTube, you'd notice that we are wearing some very funky merch.
We are. Our first merch.
First actual merch. This is for the super seminar. Do you want to move your mic away just so you can show it? Nathan, there we go. Wow, look at this. Oh, it's moved right. Here, let me move mine away.
Well, that's not the actual camera, remember?
But anyway, do you want to chat about it? And I'll just do a display.
Oh, well, it's just the merch we have for our WKF teams seminar. I'm not going to make Mitch stand up, but he is going to anyway.
Bam.
Yeah, that's the back of it. And it's for all those who have supported Kaizen Culture and also going to get a lot out of this teams camp that is by this release. I think it'll be a week and a half. Next weekend.
Wow.
So that's super exciting. Our first ever training camp, first of many, I am sure.
And we'll just do a quick thanks to PUNOC for supporting this as well. You guys have been really awesome, and we're super grateful to collaborate with you. And hopefully, we can roll out some new merch in the future. And if you're interested in merch from Kaizen Culture, let us know what we can do, and we'll try and put together some things so the future is looking bright for that.
But also, we don't want to receive a bunch of messages saying, "Hey, where can I get one of those shirts?" Because the answer is you have to attend the team's camp, if not, you'll just have to wait for the next merch shop. We keep it exclusive.
So that's all we got to say for that T-shirt. But we're back to the question that we had before the break, which was, Nathan.
What?
I can't remember.
It was a question to Shaun, and it was, how do you know that you're ready for a Series A tournament and that sort of international level?
Yeah, so I think you never know till you know. I mean, you kind of, if you're a 16, 17-year-old, just hit the seniors, you still need experience at the senior level. Like, you can win stuff as a junior, but when you come into the seniors, it's a different game. So I think an indication is if you're kind of naturally progressing through, so you're winning your state championships, your Australian Opens, your nationals, and then Oceania, I guess, naturally the next step.
Yeah, especially if you're a senior, because as you said before, if you're a junior and you are winning Oz Open, Nationals, Oceania, you've still got that youth league option. And then there's still the international tournaments as well, you know?
Yeah, so I would say even the youth league is probably on par with the Series A because the level is just is so high and you have so many competitors as well. But then the only difference is that they're your age. So international opens definitely. So your Budapest Open, which is happening this weekend, Polish Open, Mitch has gone to a couple of them in Europe, Mitch. So you would know kind of where to benchmark yourself against. But also just speak to like the seniors who've been there.
Yeah,
the guys who've done it before, because that's also a really good indication of what level all these tournaments are at before actually spending the money to go all the way and kind of just be bombarded with the high level that's there. So I mean, and now I guess with the internet and you have people that have gone and done it, definitely reach out if you're interested in doing them.
Yeah. Now, hopefully we've talked about this plenty of times on the podcast, is like the distinction between good international opens and like not so good international opens. And even just like the level of the international open being like, okay, I recognize that I'm sort of here. I shouldn't be going to the Budapest Open this time because maybe I need to do like another one that's like on par with where I'm at. So that is still yet to come out, that sort of information and stuff like that. But maybe we can can help with that space.
Yeah, no, that's a great insight,
Yeah.
Shaun. I've actually got another on the fly question for you, because I was thinking about this in my kata development. Do you feel like those juniors who are coming up and the talent runs deep and whatnot, how strong are they? Because I realized when I was growing up, like the older I became, the stronger I was. Maybe it was a Shotokan thing. I know, like Ariel taught you peak as a kata athlete around late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. So like, how strong are these juniors coming up?
I think the level, if you compared me as a junior to a junior now, like it's obviously insanely higher.
Yeah.
And that comes with having, the development of karate internationally, but also having more tournaments and the access around training, having training camps, and more people that are willing to collaborate, I guess. Like you have all these these training camps. I know for Kumite they have all these coaches that invite people to different training camps. I know Sandra Sanchez also does a camp where she invites athletes. So I think, yeah, as a junior now, it's so much higher than what I was doing back in the day. So yeah, I mean it's 100%. If you see the juniors now that are getting results, like it's not really a surprise in some sense, because yeah, the level is just it's a lot higher now, and they're a much stronger field these days.
And that's reflected in Australia as well.
Yeah. Oh man, like Ken and Dill and even like Zach, so strong. Who else we got in there? Harry Knight. Jeez, these guys are so strong. I was like, I don't remember being that strong at that age. It's wicked to see.
Funny story as a junior though in Qatar. So 2015 was a junior world championship year.
Yeah.
Mitch, were you going up for selection for Qatar?
Nah, I didn't go for selection.
Okay. Because I think I remember that year you might have won the junior division. So I didn't win the junior division, but I mean I still got selected, I guess. But I always thought it was because Mitch had to choose between Dinkata and Kumite.
I had the choice. They came to me and they said, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Can I do both?"
Did they do that for Andrew Bromwich?
Yeah,
as well?
no, they selected him for both.
They
and
did give him
He didn't
both.
actually go because he had exams or something like that.
Oh.
But I can't remember what actually happened. But yeah, I think I nominated just to only do. I think that's when I sort of decided I was like, oh, I just want to do kumite.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, oh, it would.
Look,
be
I'm
sick.
the best at kata, but I just wanted to.
No, I actually. Anyway, no, I was going to say something because I got bronze in the senior open, and I was like, I was,
That's 16, wasn't it?
17.
17, yeah. And you versed James in like the semis, hey?
I versed Ray. Ray was in the semifinals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I lost. Yeah. Anyway,
that was his peak, like world champion. Sort of time.
No, you're right. Anyway, we sort of touched on it before. Is that like our sort of trajectory when we were competing was just literally like nationals, Oceania, Commonwealth, maybe like a US Open or something like that, but then bang, straight to Junior Worlds. Very jarring experience, I would have to say. Every time you'd rock up to a Junior Worlds, first of all, we didn't really know with the limited information from social media and stuff like that, and then you rock up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just such a surprise. Obviously, an amazing experience, but the first one was Jakarta, right? 2015.
2015, yeah, it was Jakarta.
And that was, so we've like Shaun's fun fact that he floated to me was that every Worlds we've been to together. 2015, 17, 18 seniors, 21 seniors, 23 seniors.
COVID one, yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been.
And you both missed the same one?
The first one, because I went up for selection for 2013 for Spain. You also?
Yeah, so that was my first year in Sydney. So sorry, my second year in Sydney, but that was my first year doing like representing New South Wales and representing for Australia. And this is when they had the 2-year policy, like the 2-year. I'm not sure whether they still have it, but the 2-year results. So even and I remember competing against Mitch at that nationals in Hobart. But yeah, I didn't have the results, and I think they selected Aaron Collins for Qatar. So yeah, what a bit of a throwback.
Wow, it's crazy. So we've had the same career basically, but just kata kumite.
But we did. But my first international, and I think yours was Commonwealth.
It was Commonwealth. Yeah, we've had the exact same. It's like just aligned together. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome,
right.
actually.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah, yeah. So pretty cool.
But yeah, so I mean, we've had some fun times together on tour, like especially juniors. You would say it's like one of the greatest trips for karate, I would say. Would you say juniors?
Yeah, I think with the juniors when we were I think it was 2017 in Tenerife because we were under 21s. So I guess, yeah, we only had 2 world championships as a juniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one, as you said, it was quite a jarring experience and you kind of just, yeah, kind of just trying to fit in with the team and kind of find your way. But I think when we were in 2017 in Tenerife, that was a really good trip because, yeah, I guess we were kind of the more senior ones in the group,
Yeah.
being the under 21s. And yeah, I mean, Junior Worlds is just a fun trip overall.
I want an honest opinion from both of you guys because I'd never competed at Junior Worlds. When you did do your first Junior Worlds and your second for both of them, how confident were you going into the championship that, you know what, I can go deep in this championship? I want honesty.
Yeah.
You know?
First one, I think, was a sense of like ignorance
Yeah.
and just going, we're clearly the best from our country. Like we've competed internationally a couple of times. We've sort of seen, you know, glimpses of the international stage, and we just like, oh, it's the same for the same age group. I was pretty confident. Then you get that shock,
Yeah.
and then that year, 2017, was our trip overseas. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I came in with a lot of confidence going into it, thinking that it could have been the same as the junior, my junior worlds as an under 21, but then the level was crazy at under 21s. It was essentially like seniors.
Yeah. Wow. Shaun?
Best Junior Worlds, I kind of went, like, I had no real, in my mind, I didn't really have any imagination of what the World Championships was looking like. So going in, yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I'm just happy to kind of just be here.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe I'm at that level, right? Second time around was a little bit better because we had, we had done a Premier League or two, so I had kind of a bit more of an understanding, and having that experience from 2015, it was a little bit easier to visualize. So yeah, same as Mitch, had a bit more confidence, but yeah, the level that you see and the people that you go against, like you know who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely more confidence, but at the same time, it was a lot more challenging.
Yeah, wow. That the youth leagues now are providing that bridge. Then, hey, from the national level to the international level, and not just going to your first Junior Worlds and being like, holy damn. So, follow up question for you, Mitch, because you said you were maybe a bit ignorant, arrogant about going into the first was it 2015
15,
World
just sort of like
Championships?
not knowing exactly.
Not knowing. How was immediately after? Like, how did you fight? Can you remember how you fought and what the sort of the result was?
I fought India first round and I won, I think, like 8-0.
Beautiful,
And then
great start.
I fought this German dude. I think I lost 2-0.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling like I couldn't score on him. You know what I mean? I just was like, oh, wow, I've got a lot of work to do. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And it wasn't like I felt incompetent. I just felt like, oh, yeah, I probably need to be doing more stuff.
Yeah, it was humbling a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was a bit humbling, you know. Not that I was arrogant going into it, but it was just like, just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then knowing that he made it to the semi-final and sort of been like, okay, well, he got the bronze medal eventually. And actually, funny story, 4 years later, I versed him in a Series A and I got the revenge back, which was kind of nice. But yeah, just...
I remember that guy. What was his last name? Like
Marcel Bourne.
Bourne, yeah.
But yeah, he... I think I can't really remember too much of the post like immediately coming out. I was just excited to like know that I had more to give and more to improve on.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I can really do more here. And then that backed up with the next year. It was the first time I went to the youth league in Umag.
Yeah, that's nice. It's good to hear because I think that's very important for our juniors to know that if you go into this, you feel confident 100%. As you said, like you're best in your nation, you deserve to be at this level. But also if things don't go your way, have that sort of mindset of, you know what, there's so much more for me to give in this space. Less, I don't belong here.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm not at this level, all of that sort of stuff. So that's good to hear.
I totally forgot about that Umag trip because that was the year after Junior Worlds. So my Junior Worlds, my first Junior Worlds experience, I had So I won first round against Thailand, and then I went against Richard Rahaja from New Zealand, second round.
What a shame.
And he went all the way to, I know, right? You go all the way to
Yeah.
Indonesia and you compete against New Zealand. But anyway, he made it to I think he ended up winning bronze medal that year. And I remember thinking to myself, like, actually, if he can do it,
Exactly. Yeah.
I can probably, I mean, I don't think I'm too far, I wasn't too far behind him. So that was really eye opening. And then the whole big world championship stage wasn't really such a big thing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember much after we came back. Again, it was just exposure. Like your eyes open, like you just see like the light. And eventually did UMAG, did the Premier League. I think I don't know, was it 2017 in Germany?
Yeah.
Our first Premier League.
Wait.
Yeah.
And then we did Luxembourg.
Yeah, that was.
Man,
I
we've
didn't do
literally
Luxembourg,
done
but you guys did
everything.
Luxembourg.
You didn't do Luxembourg?
Yeah. No, I didn't. I came straight back home. But that was our first Premier League.
Yeah. No. We did the Premier League the early.
Oh, you guys might have done one.
Same year.
But that was all around the same time, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of, I guess you kind of see more and you get more comfortable in where you are. But yeah, it takes time. It is not like it's right away. So as the more you experience, I guess the more you feel comfortable.
I feel like that can be a pretty hard thing for some people to understand in Australia, because some people just off talent go straight to number one on a national stage. Like they receive obviously amazing training, they're talented, they're fit, all of that, and they go straight to number one and they don't experience the whole
struggle.
Yeah, the struggle, the fighting for the top position, that ladder work up.
Any funny stories you remember? I know you're dying to tell one of them, and I love this story. This was wicked. This really kicked off our friendship.
Wait, which story is this?
2015.
Which one was this?
The last day when we borrowed something for permanently borrowed.
Yeah. 2015 first world championship, and I guess you kind of you hear people hear stories of people like swapping t-shirts, trying to get like another country, like you want to get all the big countries, trying to make these things happen. So this is on the last day. We wanted something, and like we just wanted a souvenir. And they didn't have, because they didn't really have anything.
There was no great merch.
Any token
it
things,
was just
right?
kind of like a basic.
No, the merch was like really cheap t-shirts, printed t-shirts and stuff. But on the last day, we saw these banners. So they were hanging. They were like outside
banners.
It's like it was hanging. Just like two stories in the stadium. So the entrance, you go down to below, and then before that you like can go up, and there's like a little balcony, and like draped on the outside of the balcony was like heaps of banners, different colors. There was
as you walk in,
so there's like a green one. What color did you get?
I don't remember, but this wasn't in the competition itself. This was like outside in the kind of the foyer, because it was a big stadium.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how big they were at the time, but they were like massive, like massive posters saying, "Do you know what champions?" I don't even know how we even got them.
I remember because we were like, should we just take a banner? And Shaun and I were like, how do we get up there? We got to crawl up the stairs, and then we were like, okay, we're up there, and people are like walking down below.
Yeah.
And so we unhook them, and we start rolling it up, and it's taking ages because it's so big.
Yeah.
And then I think we rolled one up, and we're like, we both need to get one. So we walked over to the next one, and we rolled up another one. We had a bit of our backpacks going out. I got a green one.
There was security. There was a security guard there as well. Yeah. He looked at us, and we looked at him, and he was like, oh yeah, just take it. So we put it in our bags, and the bus was bought. Like we had to leave because that was the last day of the tournament. So the bus was boarding, and we were kind of crapping ourselves that we were going to get caught. So we chucked them in the bags, and then we just sprinted to the bus, and then we came away with the goods.
Yeah, it's actually still in the dojo.
Yeah, wow. Where's yours, Shaun?
Mine's in my bedroom somewhere, but it's too big to put anywhere other than a place like a dojo. So it's just folded up somewhere. But that was a good memory.
We are not condoning stealing. We actually got the all good go ahead from the security guard. So
yes.
That's how the story goes.
That would be a PR nightmare.
Yes.
But yeah, some really fun times at the Junior Worlds. And like you said, like Shaun, we've been traveling for literally since we were juniors together, and you form some lifelong friendships. So it's been a real pleasure to be able to to travel alongside you and go to all these top level events together. It's pretty special considering you're on the other side of the country.
Likewise. I think so. Yeah, this would be the first. The Team World Championship will be the first one which we don't go to together, unfortunately. But
Gonna break the streak.
yeah, yeah.
Anything else you had to speak to Shaun about? Anything like before we get into the listener comments and questions?
No, not really.
Yeah. Anything
I'm still interested about when you're coming back to Australia, but
That's true.
we'll have to save that one.
Yeah.
You have to get me on another podcast, and then I'll spill it.
I see what you did there.
Listener comments and questions, the new segment, it's going off, I think. We've had your dad actually write in, Owen Blockley. He's written in about the top 32. It's pretty funny that we've spoken about it now, and this is a part of the question. So he said, for the top 32 athletes who are able to compete at the last Series A tournament, you said they weren't eligible to receive points if they won. This also means that they are blocking up-and-coming athletes from gaining points and possibly blocking them from getting into the top 32. So this is the same sort of light that we were talking about, how it restricts not only
people entering the
tournament, but the people that are in the tournament, they can't then get points to then boost into the top 32 to then break into the Premier League side. You know, say someone's at ranked 35 or something like that. They're really close to the brink of it, and then they maybe just need a bronze medal to win, or who knows? They can't. That someone else wins the top spot. The points don't go to them, and
they definitely don't scale it, do they? So like, if you got second but you lost to a top 32, do you get the same as you would have got first? That would have been pretty cool if they did do. I highly doubt they did.
Nah, don't know.
But yeah, imagine that for those who came up against a top 32 that didn't make it to the final and just got knocked out. Imagine if that lies in between you and selection for the World Championships next year, because that's on the cards for everyone now, especially going into this season.
It's true, because ranking points is now all about selection for the World Championships is all about ranking points. So once again, another chink in the armor for this rule.
Yeah, what do you feel about that, Shaun?
Oh, I would have been filthy if I went up against the top 32 first round and he didn't make it to the I didn't get repechage. I'm like, come on, man, you did one job. You're the best here.
So true. Anyway, as always, if we keep going with this podcast is going to be like 2 hours long, 4 hours long, I reckon. But thanks for coming on, Shaun. And if you have any feedback and questions, write it in, send us an email, drop us a DM, drop us a comment on any of our posts. Shaun's definitely been telling us how he feels about the podcast and the content, which is good. And the next episode is next week. So it'll be released next week. It's all about the Junior Worlds team, the breakdown of who's going. We go into talking about their medals and their statistics, and maybe not statistics, but
a bit of stats.
Yeah, a little bit of stats. So that'll be next week, just in time for them to take off for the Junior Worlds.
Exciting times.
Thanks so much, Shaun, for coming on, man.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, boys. It's so nice to catch up with you guys.
Yeah. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep.
Oh, we got to press the button. John's not here.